Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a type of hormone called peptide hormone. We already discussed what is a hormone is. Hormone is a chemical substance secreted by endocrine glands and which influence a particular physiological function. These are also called chemical messengers. The hormones are classified into three categories based on their chemical structure: steroid hormone, peptide hormone, and amine hormones. We already discussed the other types. Today we are going to discuss about peptide hormones in detail. So peptide hormone is a protein hormone which contains a peptide chain in its chemical structure. All the peptide hormone contains a peptide chain in its chemical structure. That is why it is called peptide hormone or protein hormone. The different types of protein hormones are insulin, Oxytocin, Vasopressin, Angiotensin II. We already discussed all these four category of hormone contains a peptide chain in its structure. That is why these hormones are classified into peptide hormone category. We will discuss each hormone in detail. What is the chemical structure? What are the functions of these four hormones? First, we are going to discuss about insulin. We are all are familiar with the hormone insulin. Insulin controls the normal blood sugar level. So we are discussing insulin in detail. It is produced by the beta cells of islets of Langerhans in pancreas. So this is secreted by a part called islets of Langerhans in the pancreas. Insulin is a protein hormone that is composed of two chains. First chain is a 21 amino acid chain that is called A chain, and the second chain is a 30 amino acid chain which is called a B chain. This A chain and B chain are combined together through disulfide linkage to form insulin hormone. That is a chemical structure of insulin. That means this contains a particular peptide chain. That is why this is a peptide hormone. So maybe moving to the structure details. Insulin is actually derived from a prohormone, that is a 74 amino acid prohormone, which is called proinsulin. Proinsulin is actually an inactive one in normal conditions. When this proinsulin is carried to endoplasmic reticulum of beta cell, this proinsulin is decomposed or cleaved into three parts. Actually, it forms three parts, that is chain A, chain B, and a chain C, which is an inactive peptide. The A chain from this proinsulin and B chain from proinsulin are combined together to form insulin hormone. So insulin is formed from a prohormone called proinsulin, which is decomposed to form three chains. Out of these three chains, A chain and B chain combine together to form insulin hormone. So A chain and B chain become linked together by sulfur linkage. There is a cysteine amino acid present in both the chain. So through cysteine, they form sulfur linkage. These are stored in granules of beta cell. From the beta cell, it is released to the blood for controlling sugar level. Actually, pancreas of a normal adult contains 200 units of insulin. It is highly efficient for a normal individual. A normal individual only requires 30 to 50 unit of this insulin to control blood sugar level. So this is the structure of insulin molecule. So this is the A chain of insulin molecule. We can see the B chain of molecule here. One is a 21 amino acid chain, another one is a 30 amino acid chain. We can see the sulfur linkage through cysteine amino acid. Here also there is a sulfur linkage through cysteine. Cysteine is an amino acid which contains sulfur. Now we are moving to the action of insulin. When we have a meal or we have the food, the glucose level increases. When the blood glucose level increases, more insulin from beta cell is secreted to the blood, and which helps in the glucose take up and metabolism of glucose. Thus insulin controls the blood glucose level. If there is a low concentration of glucose in blood, the secretion of insulin decreases to control the blood sugar level. That is the action of glucose in blood. Then moving to the functions of insulin. The main function of insulin is carbohydrate metabolism. We already said insulin controls the blood sugar level by converting the excess glucose to glycogen. Then the other function is the synthesis of fat from fatty acid. Also, it helps in the synthesis of protein from amino acids. Also, insulin acts as an anti-proteolytic agent. Anti-proteolytic agent means it prevents the breakdown of protein molecule. So these are the functions of insulin. So primary function of insulin is carbohydrate metabolism. That means the control of blood sugar level. That is, sugar level is controlled by converting the excess glucose to glycogen. This permit or facilitates the entry of excess sugar into the cell, and it helps in the carbohydrate metabolism. So due to this action, this hormone insulin is also called hypoglycemic factor. The hypoglycemic factor of our body is insulin hormone. Then also it promotes the synthesis of fat and synthesis of protein, and it prevents the breakdown of protein. So we can conclude that the major functions or insulin promotes the anabolic process like synthesis of glycogen, synthesis of fat, synthesis of protein, and inhibits the catabolic process. Catabolic process like protein breakdown. So insulin is a very important hormone in our body because it controls the blood sugar level. The major disease associated with this insulin molecule is diabetes mellitus. It is very common disease. We call it as a sugar. We all familiar with sugar patients. The symptoms of patients having diabetes mellitus are, we already discussed, increased blood sugar level. These patients have high level of blood sugar. Then the second one is glycosuria. When the sugar level in blood increases, that may reflect in the urine also. There is a chance of glucose in the urine. That is termed as glucosuria. The osmotic effect of glucose in the urine also increases the urine volume. That means these patients have high volume of urine. This condition is called polyuria. And we all know that the sugar patients have increased thirst. And another important point is if a patient with diabetes mellitus have a injury, it will take long time to heal. Finally, it may end up in complete death or decay of the tissue or part. These are the symptoms associated with diabetes mellitus. So diabetes mellitus can be controlled by injecting the artificial insulin. That is one way to control diabetes mellitus. Then we are moving to the second hormone, that is oxytocin. Oxytocin is also a peptide hormone, and also it is a neuropeptide. That means this is secreted by posterior pituitary when hypothalamic neurons are stimulated. It is produced when hypothalamic neurons are stimulated, then it is secreted by posterior pituitary gland. So these are the functions of oxytocin. Oxytocin is a very important hormone, or it plays a vital role in childbirth, breastfeeding, and bonding with the baby. These are the functions of oxytocin. Oxytocin is released into bloodstream when there is a labor pain. Okay, it is also called birth hormone, which helps in the delivery of a baby, or this hormone helps in the contraction of smooth muscles of uterus, which facilitates the childbirth. So this oxytocin hormone is called birth hormone, which contracts the uterus muscle for the easy delivery of infant. Also, this hormone induces the contraction in mammary glands. This contraction helps the flow of or ejection of milk from mammary gland. So this hormone is also called milk ejection hormone. Commercial forms of oxytocin are administered to pregnant ladies for induced labor pain. So these are the functions. So oxytocin is a very important hormone connected to that childbirth and breastfeeding. The commercial forms are also used widely as drugs which induces labor pain. This is the structure of oxytocin. Oxytocin is a 10 amino acid peptide. Here also there is cysteine molecule. We can see a disulfide linkage between that cysteine molecule. The third hormone is angiotensin II. Angiotensin is a peptide hormone that acts as a vasoconstrictor. This increases the blood pressure of body. This is derived from a plasma protein called angiotensin, which is synthesized in the liver, which is a octapeptide. That means it contains 8 amino acid in its peptide structure. Then these are the function we already discussed. It controls or increases the blood pressure, and it also part of renin angiotensin, from which aldosterone is released. Aldosterone controls the electrolyte balance in our body. So this hormone also part in that system. So it controls the blood pressure and the electrolyte balance of the body. Then moving to the last peptide hormone, that is vasopressin. Vasopressin is also called antidiuretic hormone. It is also released by posterior lobe of pituitary gland. Moving to the structure, it has a similar structure to oxytocin. It also contains 10 amino acids in the peptide chain. There are two major differences between this vasopressin and oxytocin. In vasopressin, isoleucine is replaced by phenylalanine and leucine is replaced by arginine. So two amino acids are replaced by other two. Isoleucine is replaced by phenylalanine. Leucine is replaced by arginine. Then vasopressin controls the blood pressure or increases the blood pressure. Then also helps in the reabsorption of water in kidney tubules. This helps in the maintain the water balance of the body. It also helps in the reabsorption, helps in the reduction of urine volume. This is a problem with the patients having diabetes insipidus. So vasopressin helps in the water balance maintenance. Also, it increases the blood pressure. It is a it helps in the contraction of peripheral blood vessels.